Okay, so we're going to factor a perfect square trinomial. I think the first thing that I'm going to kind of show you, a perfect square trinomial has the following form. It's of the form a squared plus twice ab plus b squared, or a squared minus twice ab plus b squared. So it's got three terms, 1, 2, 3, and if it's in this case, it's also three terms, 1, 2, 3, but the only difference between the two is the middle term here is positive, this one is negative. Now, the way you factor a perfect square trinomial is by square rooting the first term. The square root of a squared would be a, so that would be the first position in my factored form, and if I square root b squared, I would just get b. And if there's a plus in the middle, it just is going to be a plus. So it's a plus b, and then it's quantity squared. If it's a minus in the middle, you square root the first, you get a. You square root the last, you get b. But instead of a plus in the middle, it's going to be a minus. Now, the one thing you have to be careful of is just because you can square root the first and the last terms doesn't mean you can factor it this way. The one thing I always check is the following. If I multiply these two guys together, whatever they happen to be, and double it, it should match this middle term. So if I do a times b, and double it, it should be that middle term. It should be twice ab. Okay? Let me show you a concrete example. So the one that we're looking at is 4u squared minus 28u plus 49. Now the first thing, when you have trained eyes for this, is you hopefully recognize that first term and that last term as nice perfect square numbers that you can square root. So right away I'm thinking, man, this is going to be a perfect square trinomial. If I square root 4u squared, I get 2u. If I square root 49, I get 7. There's a minus sign here, so I'm going to go with a minus sign here. And now it should just be that squared, but I want to just check, what do I get if I multiply this guy and this guy together? So I'm going to do 2u multiplied by 7. But remember, not only do I have to multiply those together, but I want to double it. So if I take that and then I double it, I better get negative 28u. So 2u times 7 is 14u. And if I double it, there's my 28u. So it works. You have to make sure that this term and this term match. Okay, so this is factored. Now just to show you guys, if this is a test, I'm going to definitely take the time to check. 2u minus 7 squared means 2u minus 7 times 2u minus 7, and you can FOIL this out. 2u times 2u would be 4u squared, minus 14u, and then another minus 14u in the middle, and then negative 7 times negative 7 is positive 49, so you get 4u squared minus 28u plus 49. That's the same as the original. So just to reiterate, if this problem was slightly changed, so a different problem, let's say this is example 2, and I had 4u squared minus 29u plus 49, the untrained student's going to say, ooh, I can square root that and get 2u, and I can square root that and get 7, and it's a minus, and they think that they have it factored right. But if you multiply these together and double it, you don't get 29u. This would not work. So it is important that you check to make sure when you multiply these together and double, you get the middle. But otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. Square root that, put them here and here. If it's a minus, put a minus. If it's a plus, put a plus. Okay?